Welcome back to Citizen Live at 1. First Lady Margaret Kenyatta yesterday met South African songbird and Africa's Millennium Development Goals Ambassador Yvonne Chaka Chaka at State House, where both agreed to work together to fight the HIV/AIDS stigma. The two stressed the need for increased awareness to reduce stigma.
According to the Ministry of Health, Kenya HIV Estimate June 2014 report, there are 1.6 million Kenyans living with HIV/AIDS, with the national HIV prevalence rate being at 6%. According to the report, there were close to 90,000 new infections in 2013, with over 50,000 of those being of women and 13,000 being of young children. A factor that has been attributed to the statistic by the Kenya AIDS Response Progress Report 2014 is stigmatization, which according to the First Lady is an impediment to the disclosure of HIV status, prevention services and open discussion of the ailment. The First Lady was speaking at a State House where Africa's Millennium Development Goals Ambassador Yvonne Chaka Chaka paid her courtesy call. Yvonne pledged to partner with the First Lady in her endeavors to reduce death among women and children from preventable causes. Yvonne was accompanied by her adopted son, 11-year-old Kenyan boy Elijah Zachary Lamayan Semel. The boy from Weki village in Nairobi is a junior champion with the National Empowerment Network of people living with HIV in Kenya for children living with HIV supported by UNICEF. Zachary called on the government to ensure that children continue enjoying their rightful health care and punish teachers and guardians who mistreat and discriminate them based on their status. Martin Munene for Citizen Live at 1.
Corruption is a major contributor to poverty. This was the message from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chair Mumo Matemu when he hosted several diplomats to mark the Anti-Corruption Day held yesterday in Machakos. The diplomats stressed the need to sustain efforts in fighting corruption, especially with regards to major projects currently underway in Kenya, such as oil exploration and the mega Lapset project. The National Police Service Commission Chair Johnston Kavulundi, present at the event, regretted that the police service continues to top the corruption index in Kenya, but assured that appropriate action will be taken against officers who take part in corruption.
Tackling corruption is therefore a hugely important element of our development assistance to Kenya, and if successful, it will develop faster and fairer economic growth that will help to lift millions of Kenyans out of poverty, and that has to be worth fighting together for.
That is our responsibility, all of us, to eradicate corruption. Why do we allow ourselves, at a very small price, a pitiable price, to be engaged in making the police officer either appear much more corrupt or become even more corrupt? If you are not able to report directly to the Inspector General, whose responsibility as the person in charge of police command, give that report to the National Police Service Commission.
Our message is simple in the EACC. That is the message that we have repeated several times. That corruption is not one of the devolved functions in the Constitution. Do we understand that? Please let us appreciate that.
With those critical comments on corruption, important just to say security also critical. As long as Kenya is corrupt, we shall not be secure. Corruption must end. Time for business now. And Kenya is said to be losing about 10 billion shillings annually from illegal fishing operations along its coastline. But now the government is in the advanced stages of procuring a deep-sea patrol vessel to curb the menace. Patrick Igunza has this story for us.
At a fish shop in Bamburi, Mombasa County, fishermen display their catch after many hours at sea. A small catch, one might say, but as Mzee Abdallah Hamisi Gude, a fisherman in the area, explains, this is because most fishermen are unable to launch deep into the sea where more fish abounds.
Uvuvi wa kizamani huwezi kwenda mahali nje. mahali ambapo kuna bahari kubwa, ambapo kuna samaki wengi, samaki wakubwa kubwa hakuna. Isipokuwa sana sisi tu katika hii mwamba tu. Na karibu baada ya sisi mpaka vizazi vyetu wote wanavua katika huu mwamba. Sasa utakuta grupu sote kila siku tukiamka tunamkia hapo hapo. Kenda pale ukipata kilo zako 3, 4, ukipata chakula ya siku moja warudi, siku ya pili yake hivyo hivyo. Ndio tunaendelea mpaka tumefikia hivi.
The situation is further compounded by the coastal fisher folks' lack of requisite skills and equipment for deep-sea fishing. This is despite the fact that Kenya has a 600-kilometer coastline that stretches 370 kilometers into the Indian Ocean. An area referred to as exclusive economic zone, which is said to have a potential to produce 200,000 metric tons of fish every year. At the moment, only 8,000 tons of fish are being realized from that zone every year.
The amount of fish that we are already exporting now is the main Nile perch from Lake Victoria. This is around 10,000 metric tons per annum. And I think that is not what we are capable of doing.
Foreign fishing vessels
which is
have
rampant
instead
in
been
Kenya,
undertaking
and
illegal
the challenge
fishing operations
as well as
in the
poor
largely
or no
unpoliced
information
waters
sharing
of
following
Kenya's
the
coast.
third.
Thank you. We apologize for the sound issues on that story. National power distributor Kenya Power is set to sell 30 megawatts of electricity to Rwanda. This is following the signing of a power sale agreement between the two countries that will see Rwanda receive power from Kenya by July 2015. That's just about 6 months away. Uganda is also part of the Memorandum of Understanding, as it will be tasked with the wheeling of power from the Kenya-Uganda border to the Uganda-Rwanda border. Rwanda is currently relying on fuel-derived power, which is considered to be an expensive source. The agreement is a culmination of a memorandum of understanding that was signed by the East African Community Heads of State in October 2013 for the promotion of sustainable development of power generation.
Importing from where power is available for us. But like he mentioned, these transmission lines are the ones that are critical, as he mentioned, as much as the utilities we are pushing and working around the clock to make sure that they are commissioned.
Really, for me, I'm excited on mainly that as we are moving towards integration of the East African community, I'm really happy that energy is one of the key areas which is accelerating the proper meaningful meaning of the integration of our region.
Together, the three countries should be able to grow and widen this partnership to even touch other countries outside the three. And so that as we talk about East African Power Pool, we should be talking about regional power pool, where we should even talk about African Power Pool. And the three utilities, Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya, entered into an MOU on 27th of October 2013. The understanding here is that Kenya, anytime very soon, is going to have excess energy, given the rate at which we are growing.
Talk of an African power pool. Great stuff. Now, communities living in Narok County are largely known for rearing livestock as their main economic activity, but one individual has seemingly gone against the grain and has gone ahead to set up a botanical garden a few kilometers from the world-famous Mara Game Reserve. Now, tonight on Citizen TV's weekly agri-business segment, Smart Farm, we bring you the story of Kantilal Halai, who has successfully set up a botanical garden on a 25-acre piece of land in Narok. Join our reporter Dennis Sotieno tonight as he tells us how this enterprising farmer has managed to transform a semi-arid land into a productive field.
The first idea came in my mind was to do fruit farming, and I started fruit farming. I finished 3 years back the fruit farming. I'm in between the wildlife, So elephants have given me a lot of problems. So few of my trees have been eaten, but now luckily I got some funds and I did an electric fence.
Resilience not to be missed. Now turning to the foreign currency market, the Kenya shilling has extended losses against all hard currencies as importer demand for dollars picks up. According to the Central Bank of Kenya, commercial banks have posted the local unit at an indicative rate of 90 shillings 36 cents buying, 90 shillings 55 cents selling to the dollar. The local currency has lost 4.8% against the dollar this year, despite frequent interventions by the central bank to mop up the shilling through dollar sales, which lends support to the local currency. Now let's take a look at the euro. The shilling is trading at 111 shillings and 98 cents buying, 112 shillings and 23 cents selling, and the shilling is trading at 141 shillings 70 cents buying, 142 shillings and 2 cents selling to the sterling pound. On the regional front, the Kenya shilling is trading at 19 shillings 26 cents buying, 19 shillings and 40 cents selling to the Tanzanian shilling, while trading at 30 shillings and 48 cents buying, 30 shillings and 65 cents selling to its Ugandan counterpart. Well, time for sport, and we welcome Bernard Dong to the studio. What's the latest?